Billy Elliot by Melvin Burgess. Chapter 4. Jackie's Story. The Minor Strike. Something strange is happening. Billy is my son, and I love him. But he is different from other boys, and he does strange things. When he was 10, he sat in a box all day. Then it was football. He wasn't very good at the game, but he practiced all the time. Now he is spinning round in circles in the kitchen, in the hall, in his bedroom. He holds out his arms and he spins and he falls on the floor. Then he starts again. "What are you doing?" Tony asked him. "I'm practicing a spin. It's a boxing move," he said. "I've never seen that boxing move before." "Stop it!" I shouted at him. But he didn't. Every day he stood with his arms out and tried again. Then one day I came home from the shop and he was outside the house. He was looking at the wall, arms out, then he spun round 2 or 3 times. He went really fast. "Yes, yes, yes, I did it! I did it!" He was very excited and smiled. "You did it," I said. He jumped. "Dad, you frightened me! I didn't see you." "Have you tried this move at the boxing club?" "No, not yet. I want to get it right every time." "Did George teach you this spin, Billy? What does he think about it?" "George? No, he doesn't say anything." "You'll surprise him next Saturday." Billy didn't say anything, but he looked at the ground. A few days later he started to jump. High, big, long jumps with his hands over his head. What's he doing? Does he think he is a belly dancer? "Is that another boxing move?" I asked. "Yes." "I don't understand. Is George teaching him these strange moves?" When the fat boy knocked Billy down, I stopped going to the club. I have too many problems. I haven't got time to watch Billy at the boxing club. It's the 4th month of the strike and I haven't got any money. The strike won't end soon, and one day the mine will close down. Tony is angry. I understand why he is angry. But he is crazy too, and he is looking for a fight. I'm afraid that he is going to do something stupid. We were in the supermarket yesterday and we saw Gary Stewart. He had a bag full of food. "Look at him," Tony said. Tony and Gary went to school together. They were friends before the strike. "Be careful," I whispered. "One day Tony will hit somebody and the police will throw him in prison." "Are you okay, scab?" called Tony. We knew Gary was a scab. Strikers can't buy big bags of food. "Have you got enough food? What are you doing? We can't win the strike if our people cross the picket line." "We won't win the strike, my friend," Gary said. "I'm not your friend. Not now. You and the other scabs, you'll make us lose," Tony shouted. He was getting more and more angry. Gary threw down his bag and walked away. Is Tony going to follow him? I thought. Will he hit him? But Tony didn't move. He'll hit somebody soon. I hope it's not a policeman. On Friday morning, the picket line was bigger. There are a lot of new pickets. Students, teachers on holiday, people from across the world. And half the policemen in Great Britain are standing between the pickets and the scabs. On Friday, the pickets were throwing eggs and stones. I was standing next to George, holding his arm. The crowd pushed forward and the police pushed us back. "Listen, Jackie," George said. "Don't worry about the 50 pence. I don't need it. The money isn't important." "What are you talking about?" I asked. "The boxing. I haven't seen Billy for months." "What? But he is always practicing." I didn't tell him about the spins and the jumps. "Send him to my house and I'll talk to him," George said. Then the police pushed forward again. Someone threw a rock into the side of a bus full of scabs. "Scab! Scab! Scab!" We pushed forward hard and I was lifted almost off my feet. "You didn't want to fall down in the middle of this." Was Billy keeping the 50 pence? I'm going to kill him, I thought. Next morning, Billy ran quickly downstairs. He was hiding something under his coat. "Billy, Billy!" I shouted, but he ran out of the house. What's he doing now? I thought. Billy Elliot by Melvin Burgess. Chapter 5. Billy's Story. Mrs. Wilkinson's Plan. I jump higher than all the little girls in the class, and I feel good. Miss says I'm good. She spends half the lesson with me. "Is it our turn now?" the girls ask. "You are always with Billy." "Be quiet, Debbie. I'm busy." I love the class. I think about it all the time. I practice a lot and I'm stronger now. I can dance for hours. Michael was worried. "Your dad will find out about the ballet classes," he said. "What will you do?" But I didn't want to think about that. Just this week. Just one more lesson, I thought. Then Dad walked into the ballet class. I was lifting my leg. I looked up and Dad was standing in the door. I stopped. He's going to kill me, I thought. Miss was still teaching. "Up, 2, 3. Like a princess, Debbie. 1, 2, 3. "Why aren't you dancing?" she asked me. The music stopped and she saw Dad. His face was red. "You! Out! Now!" he shouted at me. I watched Miss out of the corner of my eye. She is going to fight him, I thought. I don't want a fight. "Please, Miss, don't," I whispered. Then I went out of the hall. I wanted to hide. Dad followed me out. He took my arm and pulled me home. He didn't say anything, and I was very frightened. In the kitchen, he pointed at a chair next to the table. Then he sat down opposite me. He didn't speak for a long time. "Ballet," he said finally. "What's wrong with ballet?" I said. "It's okay." "How can it be okay?" I was frightened. He was angry and his face was white now. "I went to ballet classes," Nan said. She was sitting near the window watching us. "It's okay for your Nan." "For girls, Billy, not for boys. Boys play football or they box." "What's wrong with dancing?" I asked again. But I knew. Ballet isn't for boys and strong, hard men. Ballet isn't for minors who strike for their friends. People in our town don't dance ballet. Well, maybe I don't want to be a minor. Maybe I am different. "Forget about ballet, son, and forget about boxing," Dad said. "I have worked hard for those 50 pence. You can stay at home with Nan." "I wanted to be a dancer," Nan said. "Be quiet!" Dad shouted at her. I jumped up. "I hate you!" I screamed at him. Then I ran out of the room. He shouted at me, but I didn't stop. Tears were running down my face. I want to dance, I thought. It's the only thing I can do well, and Dad wants to stop me. I ran down to the beach. It was a windy day. I listened to the sea and I felt calmer. I was on the posh side of town now. Rich people live there, people who are better than us. Miss lives there. I went to her house and knocked on the door. The door opened and Miss stood in front of me. "Oh, it's you," she said. I said, "He doesn't know I'm here. He'll kill me." "Has he stopped you coming to classes?" "He doesn't understand, Miss," I said. I didn't want to say anything bad about my dad to her. She didn't like him, but he was my dad. She turned back into the house. "Debbie," she shouted, "it's Billy. Come and talk to him." I followed her into the sitting room and sat in a chair. Debbie came and sat next to me. Her dad was sitting in another chair drinking beer. "So you're the ballet dancer," he said. "I've heard about you. Your dad works down the mine, doesn't he?" "Yes." "Is he on strike?" Of course. The strike will end soon. The miners can't win. The miners don't make any money, so they'll close. He looked at me angrily. Tom, be quiet, said Mrs. Wilkinson. Why is he so angry? I thought. He isn't on strike. What's your job, Mr. Wilkinson? I asked. He lost his job, Debbie said. The company doesn't need him. Did you strike to save your job? I said. Mr. Wilkinson's face went red, but he didn't say another word. I ate dinner at the Wilkinsons' house. Later, up in Debbie's room, she told me about her mom and dad. My dad drinks too much and he has girlfriends. He and mom are unhappy, she said. Do you miss your mom? I didn't want to talk about my mom. I don't think about her a lot. Sometimes I forget she's dead. I think she's at the shops or in the other room with Nan, but she never comes back. Debbie moved closer to me on the bed and I hit her. I didn't hit her hard. She's only a girl. We were fighting and playing. Suddenly I touched her on her chest and I felt strange. She touched my face. It was nice, but I stood up. I heard Mrs. voice. Debbie, Billy has to go home. I'll take him in the car, she called up the stairs. I'll see you later, I said to Debbie. Bye, Billy. She sat on the bed and didn't look at me. Miss took me to the street next to my home and we sat in the car. I was thinking about the auditions for the Royal Ballet School, she said. You are a bit old for the auditions, miss, I said. She laughed. Not me, Billy, you. There are auditions in Newcastle. Ballet school? Me? Ballet is only a game, isn't it? Can I do ballet as a job, miss? Of course you can. Dad won't let me, I told her. I'll talk to him. No! I almost jumped out of the seat. Miss, don't! She was quiet for a minute. Then she spoke again. I'll teach you. I haven't got any money and Dad wants me to box. I'm not doing it for the money. This is important, Billy. She spoke angrily. All right. Keep your hair on, I said. She looked at me and we both laughed. Can I do this? I thought. Dance in secret? Be a ballet dancer? I'm a boy. I can do this, I thought. I can dance. I smiled at her and she smiled back at me. I'll see you on Monday, she said. 6 o'clock at the hall. I didn't say yes or no. I just opened the car door and go out. And bring something with you, she continued. Something that's important to you. It will give us ideas for the dance. What dance? Your audition dance, stupid. I shut the car door and she drove away. What am I doing? I asked myself.